What I find interesting is that they only see intimacy or sex as one thing. They don't see the difference between predatory sex and nurturing or healthy sex. And the sex is used kind of as a metaphor for the character's emotional needs. And if you only get hung up about seeing the sexuality in the film, then they're missing the point of the film. I don't think all the parents in it are monsters, and if anything, we humanize even the parents that aren't able to fulfill their own emotional needs, that we try to show them as fallible, as frail. In other words, what I think the film makes a statement about, if we want to say it's a statement, is that we all need to grow up as children or adolescents and as adults, that we all have a responsibility to grow up, and that's what we're dealing with. We're not trying to set up or stack, that this is a bad person. They just don't have the tools to handle with their own emotional needs. Kids today are much more honest than my generation, and maybe their generation will even be more honest than they are. But they're around pornography and sexuality from a much earlier age than I was. So they felt very natural. They understood the emotional context of the films. And also these kids are out with video cameras recording themselves, in their tricks and their life. So it's so available now, video and digital cameras, that they're very comfortable with the media. So for them, they just entered that role because of who they were themselves, and they could do that. I think they all could dwell on things in their own life that they felt, that they didn't have to make the leap. That's why Larry and I wanted to use real kids and not actors, because we felt there would be an emotional resonancy to their performance. And because I come out of documentary, I like working naturalistically with non-actors. The parents are all actors, which I felt gave a different rhythm to the performance between them, and then helped the actors work in a different way. Generally, I find people under 30 get the film, and people over 30 have to question the methodology of how we made the film and why we had to have this kind of sexuality in the film. But it's the sexuality in the film is not violating anyone. Like I find advertising and commercials and fashion much more predatory and exploiting a female body or sensibility than what we're ever doing. I think if people are upset about it, it's dealing with male sexuality. There's never a problem with female sexuality. In fact, actually the film starts seeing Rhonda seducing her daughter's boyfriend, and I've never gotten a complaint about that. But when the film develops, without telling all the story, then people get upset. So then I find it interesting. It's still the last taboo is to show anything about male sexuality. We had a very long shooting schedule because I knew and Larry knew that was the one thing we needed for the performance. I had a very small crew. I operated and lit the film, and that's the freedom you have. And I never think that's some kind of negative or I can't think of the term. I would much rather make a smaller film and tell my story than have all the lights in the world and the army behind you, because all they do is get in the way to make the film.